Disney are bombarding us with sequels this year. We've got the second Moana film this November, the second live-action Lion King this Christmas, and we've just been blessed with Inside Out 2. I've been to see it, so let's talk about it. Hey, welcome back to another movie review. Today the movie in question is Inside Out 2. It's just dropped today on June 14th. I've already seen it, I'm on the ball and I'm ready to talk about it. Here's the setup. I've got the movie poster here. I've got my DVD of the first movie right there. I thought this was a pretty good setup for the movie review on Inside Out 2. And before we get started, I just want to point something out. I was quite concerned, not concerned, but when I first heard about Inside Out 2 and I heard about the recastings for the voices of Fear, Disgust, I think there's another one I'm missing, but I can't remember which one. It may be Anger. But when I first heard about these recastings, I was a little bit dubious about it. I thought it would put me off the film a little bit. But I've just been to see it and I didn't mind it. I didn't really notice it either. The only one that I did notice more so was the recasting for Fear, because the voice now of Fear is Tony Hale and he's the voice of Forky in Toy Story 4, and because of that I kind of recognised that and noticed that a little bit more. But other than that, I didn't really bother me. So if that's something you're concerned about when you're going to go and see Inside Out 2, I wouldn't let it put you off too much, because I didn't notice it at all really during the film. So that's just something I thought I'd put out there. So let's start talking about the movie. Now obviously Inside Out 2 introduces all of these new emotions: anxiety, envy, ennui, embarrassment, and it kind of covers this theme of puberty, which is quite a difficult thing to cover in a kids' film. And I think it does it perfectly. It covers these quite sensitive topics, which shouldn't really be sensitive because everyone goes through it, everyone goes through the same thing, but it is quite a sensitive topic still, and I think it covers it and addresses these things so perfectly well in a really careful and a really well thought out way. It obviously introduces the main character, Anxiety, which is a very, very prominent character throughout this film. And I feel like the trailer paints out Anxiety to be this kind of really evil villain, and I think towards the end of the film we see that that's not the case. She's not a villain, and we kind of learn about her and everything that kind of Riley is going through. In which I really love the way that they've waited quite a few years to release this, because people that were younger, about 7 or 8 years old when they first watched Inside Out, when it came out in 2015 I think, are now going through puberty or have just gone through puberty when they're watching the second film. And I think that's kind of really bittersweet to kind of see that, having gone through what Riley is going through, or going through what Riley is going through. And I think that's a really kind of really clever way of marketing this film by Disney and Pixar. So they've done very, very well in that respect, and good on them, because it's a really, really good film. I really, really enjoyed it. Like I say, it covers this really sensitive topic of puberty and anxiety, and it does it in a way that doesn't lose the magic of Inside Out and what the movie's about, and it doesn't lose this Disney and Pixar magic whilst covering quite a mature theme, which is good because it's still a kids film, isn't it? It's still a film for kids, and I think that's kind of something to bear in mind as well. However, I think that the soundtrack, I don't know why I did a massive pause on that, however, the soundtrack for this movie, I don't know why I did that. The soundtrack is really, really good. It's another really well thought out movie in terms of the soundtrack. It's a really classic Pixar soundtrack and vibe that and the score to this film, just amazing. Another Pixar classic, and of course the original Inside Out soundtrack and score from the first film is of course in this film to begin with. Now, I want to talk about something towards the end of the film without spoiling it, because I don't like to spoil these films and these movie reviews in case you are going to go and see it and you haven't already seen it. But at the end of the film, kind of at the climax of what's happening in this film, and when Anxiety is kind of at her most prime, she's kind of in her element at this point in the film. If you've been to see it, then you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you come back to see this movie review after you've seen the film, you'll know what point I'm talking about. But when she's kind of at her most anxious, if you will, we kind of then get this message, a really beautiful message from all of these emotions about what makes a person. And it's kind of like, although we all have our flaws, we all make mistakes, and we all do things that perhaps we look back and cringe and complete embarrassment and wish we hadn't done, and we do all of these things that are mistakes and are flaws, but that's what makes you you. And I think that's that message that they deliver really, really well. They execute this message perfectly. Really kind of sums what this film is. The ending, does it make room for a third film? I don't know. Is there something we want to find out? Yes, we do, but do we want to find out that thing enough to justify a third film? I'm not too sure. I don't know how they could play about with a third film. But even if this is the end, I think this is a perfect film to kind of end off this small series of movies with Inside Out, and I think it's absolutely perfect. If you don't want to hear about Easter eggs within this film, mute this video for the next 20 seconds because I'm going to talk about them right now. I love Pixar and Disney because they really, really include so brilliantly all of these little Easter eggs about previous films and films that are to come, and they do this again in Inside Out 2. To begin this film off, we have the Toy Story binoculars when they're looking out to the islands of the film, looking out to the islands of Riley's emotions. It's been a long day. When they're looking out into the islands of Riley's emotions, they use binoculars, and they're the binoculars from the original Toy Story film. When they're all in bed and they're all asleep, to the side on Joy's bedside table is a figure of Bing Bong. I mean, amazing. That's really, really cute. And obviously, one of the biggest ones for me, during the film, they kind of get in touch with one of Riley's old junior TV show characters, and it's just a complete comparison to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. If you've ever seen that TV show, you'll know exactly what it is, and Toodles and Mickey, and they're asking Toodles for help. They do this, and they have a very, 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 very similar thing in this film. And again, a really, really lovely way to make an Inside Out movie. So it's a really, really good film. It's in cinemas right now as of June 14th. If you can go and check it out, really do. It's got a 100-day theatrical release, so it's in cinemas for at least 100 days. If you want to go and check it out, I definitely recommend it. It's definitely one to take the kids to go and see. If you're an Inside Out fan, if you're a Disney fan, this is a must watch because it's such a perfect film, and it's a really, really good sequel to the first Inside Out movie. A lot of sequels can be a bit iffy. A lot of them, dare I say it, can be just sequels just to make a little bit of money, but it's not. They use these characters in a really, really, really good way, and they made a film that was just a beautiful film. So if you can go and see it, really, really do, because it's more than just a cash grab. It isn't a cash grab in my opinion. It's a film that has been really well thought out, really, really, really good storyline, and a very, very, very good Disney Pixar film, their 28th film, and boy is it brilliant. And if you go to see it in cinemas like right now in the next few days, you might be lucky enough to get a poster with an activity sheet on the back. They give those away. They gave them away in my cinema for free. I took a couple, and I also got a bunch of stickers. That to me just sums up what a cinema experience should be. So go and check it out in cinemas if you can. You might get some goodies too while you're there. And of course, we kind of end this movie review now with two questions. First off, what do I rate it out of 10? It's getting a solid 9 out of 10 because it's just a perfect Disney film. Definitely go and check it out in cinemas if you can. And the final question, will I be buying it on DVD? Well, I've got the first one. Of course I will be. I need to add it to my collection. And even if I didn't like the film, I'd kind of have to get it on DVD to add it to my Pixar collection, else it wouldn't be complete. So I will be getting it on DVD, and I most likely will be getting it on DVD the day it comes out, because that's the kind of guy I am, and that just shows how much I love the film. So if you can go and see it in cinemas, I know I've said it a million times, but if you can go and see it in cinemas, please, please do. It's an amazing, amazing follow-on to the first Inside Out movie. And that is it. Thank you for tuning in to my first ever movie review on a Disney film, and this is how most Disney films are going to be like, because I love all Disney films, so most of my reviews on Disney films are going to be nothing but love. Anyway, that is it. I'm going to stop talking now because I've been talking for nearly 10 minutes, and that's insufferable. So if you want to like, subscribe and do all that stuff, you can do. In the description below is a link to the movie review playlist, which features all of my movie reviews that I have done so far, and many more to come. There's also a link in the description to the Inside Out 2 movie trailer, and all of the movie plot will be in the description below as well, and that is where I'm going to farewell and say and sign off. So thank you for watching, and I shall see you in another one of these very, very soon.